Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I have a friend here who is going to share his experience for studying in Germany and everything. So I'll let him introduce himself, then we can continue and then asking some few questions. So yeah.
All right. Welcome everyone to our video channel. It's a pleasure to recognize me and that I can feature in one of your videos as we share our experiences with my colleague here during our studies in Germany. So basically, my full name is Chama Chilufya. I come from Zambia, specifically Lusaka, and I've been here in Germany for the past 2 years now. Yeah, I think that's all for now. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so what program are you doing? Is it masters or bachelors?
I did a master's in land management and land tenure at Technical University of Munich.
Okay. So I want to ask the reason why you chose to study in Germany. The other countries, why Germany?
Oh, all right. So perhaps the key question that needs to be addressed is that from the vintage point, I've always had an interest in pursuing my master's degree.
All right.
When I finished during my studies in Zambia, when I finished my educational studies in Zambia, I started working for a real estate company. And when I doing that, I felt like I could add more knowledge to my already existing knowledge, which I perceived at that time was quite a bit narrow. So I wanted to broaden the knowledge, which was basically an embodiment of the work that I was doing. So to this extent, I looked at some of the aspects that would enable me to pursue my frontiers of knowledge in doing a master's, and that's how I opted to apply and to German, and I was accepted. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
Or maybe you want to know specifically why I came here.
Well, maybe some people don't mind the country they are going to study, but I don't know. Maybe some people also have a specific reason. Looking at how Germany was able to even control the coronavirus, people might even like to come here to stay because they will trust the education system, they will trust, everything they are doing. So, yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. For me, my case is different because my choice of coming to Germany was basically on the first come, first serve basis.
Okay.
I used to apply and I would suffer rejection. I was be given rejection. I remember at some point I had like 16 university offers. All of them, they had given me university admission, but none of them was giving me the scholarship. I'd applied to UK, Australia, Canada, here, Sweden. You talk of the other place. Not until I saw that there's a scholarship which was funded by DAAD.
Yeah.
And I got interested. I think that was during the application. That was during 2016. So I got interested and I tried to salvage for more information on how to go about the application, because I got to realize to say there was also one person from Zambia who did a master's here. So when I asked him, I did apply, but I was unsuccessful on grounds that I was late for the scholarship. So the university told me that they could give me an offer, but it will come along with an invoice, which would be quite prime because I was quite late. But considering my financial capacity, I could not manage. That's how they advised to say, what you can do, you can try to reapply next year, and please be mindful of the time on which they call for application for scholarships. So on that basis, I applied for university admission, and when the time came in, I think that was around 2017, I also applied for a scholarship. But that was not the only place I applied for. I also applied for Netherlands scholarship under Netherlands fellowship program because I was still hesitating because I'd already suffered a lot of rejection in the past. So I thought if I just put all the eggs in one basket, which is German, perhaps maybe I suffer a rejection, what happens? So I kept on pushing for these two scholarship, and thank Lord, everything came to materializing, everything came to fruition. I was accepted by both Netherlands and Germany. So it was just a matter of choice.
Which one comes first?
Which comes
Okay.
first, like I said from the beginning, I chose German on the basis of first come, first served.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So let's go back to when you were in Zambia before you even come to apply. So how was the process, the application and all that? How was it? Just, I mean, summarize the whole thing so that they can also learn from your perspective.
All right. Truth be told, comparing to, because like I told you, I've been applying to the other universities. Comparing to the other universities, I would say the procedure of German application is a little bit pedantic. In that,
wow, that's a big word. I think you need
okay. It's a little bit tedious. Like the process is a little bit involving. Yeah,
it's not straightforward.
Yes, because at every particular point in time, when I just thought I'd submitted everything, they'll say, now we need this. Now we need this. You need to notarize them. Just the university application itself at TUM was quite hectic. No, you need to notarize and certify. I didn't know the difference between notarization and certifying. So I made some mistakes.
What was the... You can share the difference because, I mean...
Okay.
No, because I knew that most of them you have to certify, so notarize.
Yes. So certification of the document is where you just go to any government official. Okay. You present the papers to say, I want the papers to be certified. In that case, the government official, they are going to put a stamp to say these are certified true copy. Yeah. One difference I found out is that the problem is they don't look at the original. For them, you can just present that with the photocopies, and they are just, as long as you give them the money. Now, notarization is a little bit more details, because a mere stamp is not good enough. They require, it should contain also an emblem, if you understand. And they have to be an original copy. And usually notarization is usually done by the lawyers as opposed to government officials, and it is quite costly. So when I go to notarize, they'll tell you, give us the original copy, and then they are going to stamp, certify, then they are going to put an emblem which authenticates that these are the translation from the original true copy of the certificate.
Okay. So now a little bit about TUM application. So you apply online, of course. Then you have to also send hard copies.
Yes. This is why I told you it was a bit tedious again. I apply online. Then after I applied online, they told me that you need to send the notarized copy as hard copies. Okay. So at that time, I needed to go to DHL and had to pay the fee, and then that was in Zambia. I think that was something like €35, and that's how I sent. And they said we have received. The problem I only faced was when I was applying, I didn't know that I need to send the hard copy, and they did not tell me that's the problem. Yes. So I just used to click on the TUM online, then I would see pending, not document, until I had to make an inquiry. Then they said you need to send hard copy. Perhaps that's for those who might be privileged to engage. Maybe we'll try to them to make them aware that they need to engage more.
Okay. All right. So let's start. I think people want to see your experience in Germany. So let's start from the beginning. When you came to this country, how was it the first month, maybe the first week or the first month? How was your experience comparing to Africa, Zambia, where you were coming from? So,
okay, the experience was totally different from Zambia. Of course, you are talking about this drastic and not gradual change from Africa to Europe. You get on a flight, you come to a foreign country, you don't know anyone, and then you say, okay, we are on your own. When we were coming, of course, prior to that, with our coordinator, we had made some arrangements where we had some correspondences using mails to say, no, someone will pick you up and someone will do ABC. So at that time, my thinking was like, when I reach, I'll be taken care of. I was expecting too much. I'll be taken care of. They will take me, okay, this is where I'll be spending night. But I started noticing the moment I was told to say, look for accommodation on your own. That's when I noticed, say, okay, on this part, I think there's more of individual redemption as opposed on reliance to the chair. So when I came the first time, I remember I just landed. I didn't know how to go. My phone had already switched off. I had to stay at Munich airport for 3 hours until I saw these people who had banners, Technical University of Munich. That's how I approached, and they said, oh, okay, welcome. We took the train, and, well, they just said, okay, here where you are grown up, you are on your own. You have to be responsible on your own. So they just said, I'm just going to show you, because I told them the address where I'm going, Clinicum Grossardin. They just said, I'm going to show you the route, and then from there you go. So overall, I would say it was more of, for the first initial days, was more of individual survival as opposed to guidance. Okay. My experience with racism is that I think the outside world have exaggerated this so-called perceived racism in Zambia. In Germany, sorry. In the understanding, they think when you come here, or no German will ever talk to you and no person. But I'd like to dispel those misconstrued perception to say they lack no form of truth and they hold no form of, they don't hold a lot of truth at all. Racism might be there, but it is not at the level as people put it, okay? You come to Munich, you find a lot of blacks, and they live. Of course, when I came here, because I could not speak, I was confronted with two problems. Apart from being in a new country, I could not speak Deutsch. And I see, you try to approach someone, of course, I suffered a little bit of racism. They would say, they're just kind of snobbish, they leave you. And it became difficult for me. So it took me a little bit of time, because the other thing is, because I'm a social person, so I had to adjust and understand to say the only way I can communicate with them is to adjust kind of my personality and not take it the African way. And I can tell you from that time, I've had a very good cordial relationship with Germans. I've never suffered so much of racism, no.
Okay. A little I'll add to that is, when you are coming to this country, you shouldn't, put in your mind that these people are bad. If you start putting those kind of thoughts and you come here, the little thing someone do, you might think is racism. The person hates you, that's why the person is doing that. But that's not the case. So it's there are a lot of people here in Germany who also love black people, they love Africans. So you cannot say that Germans generalize it, that Germans are racist, but just that maybe some few people are doing that. So what about those people who also show you love and care and everything? So this is the thing. Even in Africa, we hate ourselves, like, ethnicity, you hate the other ethnicity, you hate the other clan, all those things. So it's something, the whole world should change. It's something that we should all change, like what is happening in the United States and everything. So yeah,
perhaps I can just add on one thing. I think the main point that we need to understand is what we might be perceived as racism in actual sense is not racism. It's just the differences in culture between Germans and Africans. Truth be told, we Africans, we love talking. But these people, they are cold. They just don't like talking. So when you approach somebody, they are reserved. So when you approach this person, you just give direct answer, not want to talk to you. That in itself is not evident of being narrated as a form of racism. It's just the differences in culture, where people they just want to be on themselves. They don't want kind of association. The social systems are quite different. Yes.
That is true. Okay, so you've shared a lot. I want you to give your final thoughts on everything.
My final thought is that I've never regretted having come to Germany. If anything, I count it as a blessing that the German came earlier than the Netherlands scholarship. And if I had to be given another scholarship, I would still go for DAAD scholarship.
Wow.
than other places.
Okay.
Because the DAAD scholarship is very flexible, the opportunities they are okay. When you finish, it's not like the other scholarship where and now you have to go back.
Yeah.
They'll give you that opportunity. So
Yeah.
I would overall encourage people across the world and those who will be watching the videos, please apply for DAAD scholarship. Racism is not as the way it is perceived here. There's a lot of misconstrued information. Apply for the DAAD scholarship. You can check it on the internet and you'll never regret coming to Germany.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
sure. All right, so thank you very much for coming and coming to share your experience with my audience and everyone. I hope they have learned a lot from you.
You are welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Ciao.